Welcome to the Embrace the Face podcast, where we celebrate all things weird and wonderful. I'm Allie Anderson, your host, here to bring you high vibe content and interviews for your highest good in self-healing and ascension. May these episodes bring you all you need in each now, and I thank you for listening, as always. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Embrace the Face. Today, we are honoring Aquarius season, and it's me, I'm solo. So we're going to talk all about this magical and basically innovative season and why you need to hop on board and tap in. Those of you who don't know me, I am a triple Aquarius first house. What does that mean? My sun, moon, and rising are all in Aquarius, as well as my Mercury, which is home to communication. First house represents self-identity. So if you've ever heard of somebody talking about the big three, your sun, moon, and rising, mine happen to just be in the first house of the zodiac in Aquarius, which means that I am, for all intents and purposes, a raging Aquarius woman. And a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people think that Aquarius is a water sign because of the woman holding the water pitcher. However, it is actually an air sign. So many times we are caught up in our heads, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So Aquarius is ruled by both the planet Uranus, which is the planet of rebellion and innovation, just going against societal norms, but also Saturn. So in ancient astrology, it is known that Saturn at one point ruled Aquarius, and this is kind of on the border of Capricorn as well. So Saturn is home to structure. However, Aquarians tend to kind of fly by the seat of their own pants and go with the flow. So Uranus is more so that resonant energy of the Aquarius nature. And Aquarius season really is, especially in the world right now, we have so much of the same of everything, right? Everybody is trying to be like everyone else. Everyone, especially if you're in the spiritual entrepreneurship world, I feel like it can quickly become a competition of who's doing better, who's doing it the quote unquote right way, where there really is no right or wrong way. It just is. And who's making the most money, and where is this person in their business? Trying to, I guess the word framework comes to mind. And I often talk about this because, yes, we should have frameworks, but really, at least as an Aquarius, the idea of following intuition means to simply just go with the flow. So if you are somebody who thrives on structure, and you are somebody who thrives on framework, and if you're following another influencer or spiritual entrepreneur's way of working and way of strategy, then that is amazing. Good for you. I'm so happy that it works for you. Like, genuinely, I'm so happy for you. For me, I choose, like, I'll train, I'll take workshops here and there. I try to take like free workshops, or, I do have one mentor that I work with, and that mentor works around my astrology, and she helps me to figure out, what's going on in my life in that now, and what should I focus on. But ultimately, you can hire all the gurus, but ultimately, this is something that I always say: you are your greatest guru, and just trust that intuition at all times. Aquarius can definitely be misconstrued as being ice cold, that they can come across as being either an a-hole or a bitch. I feel like there are two sides, and the opposite on the zodiac of Aquarius is Leo. So I feel like when you learn to emotionally regulate yourself, especially if you're an Aquarius, it is very easy to put up the cold shoulder and put up the walls and kind of self-isolate. That's a huge, I guess negative attribute of an Aquarius, although it just is. It's just how we can be. But when you start to do that emotional regulation work, that nervous system work, then you start to realize that you can simply just rely on your loving Leo side, if that makes sense, to tap into that fire energy, to maybe melt the ice a little bit. But as I've gotten older, it's funny, like I meet people and they're like, oh, I usually don't like Aquariuses. They're usually so rude or cold or mean or standoffish. I've definitely gotten in my life that just by looking at me that I suffer from a serious case of RBF, that resting bitch face. For those of you who don't know what RBF is, literally got me into fights in high school, got me suspended from school. So this is just my face. I really am not cold-hearted. As I've gotten older and I've done the work and I've become more emotionally regulated, I definitely tend to be more self-aware about when I am becoming cold or putting up that wall. And I really try to dig into that shadow side, right? That shadow side of why am I acting this way? Why am I closing myself off? What can I do in this now to not almost hold this negative energy, because that's all it is, right? Like even if you're not an Aquarius, if somebody pisses you off or somebody wrongs you or betrays you or does something that is just straight up hurtful, your initial response is to go into that survival mode, that sympathetic nervous system response of freeze, and to seriously reconsider, your life and people in your life and the situation in your life. And as you start to understand nervous system regulation, I think the easier it becomes when somebody does trigger you, when somebody does trigger these deep wounds that I noted, then you can look within, you can slow down, you can take a time out, you can take some breaths, those 3 deep breaths that signal to the nervous system that you are in fact safe in your body. And how can you process that situation in that now, or that incident in that now? How can you emotionally regulate yourself? How can you comfort yourself? How can you, yes, in that air space of being up in the mind and the head, how can you process that? How does your energy flow through this? What does your body feel? Are you feeling hurt? Are you feeling pain? Are you feeling discomfort? Where are you feeling it? Can you tend to that? Can you loosen that? Can you send the breath to that? Can you send loving light energy healing to that and alchemy? Can you let this, whatever is happening, go quick enough before it builds up? And it is said that if you feel an emotion for more than 10 seconds, that it ends up becoming almost stagnant. It becomes rooted within you, body, mind, spirit, soul. So how can you as an individual prevent that from happening? How can you process triggers or wounds or things that, don't agree with your nervous system? How can you process them in the now so that they don't build up and fester and harbor, and then down the road you end up with an ailment of either physical, mental, or emotional dis-ease? How can you embody the Aquarius energy by literally just simply thinking outside the box and letting it flow? If there's one thing that I love about being an Aquarius, it's that, especially a triple Aquarius, when you dive deeper into it, that I am not really a rule follower. I'm respectful. I definitely try to follow the laws. I try to be a good human. I try to just do my thing without really causing interruption externally. And it's always been just kind of how I am. I've always felt very independent. My parents said I was born to move out of the house. So it's kind of just who I am. And again, as I've gotten older, it makes more sense when I dove deep into my natal chart and my astrology. Everything about who I am makes sense. I always joke around, but it's really not a joke, that I could literally live in a van and just travel the country, travel the world, and I would be totally at peace. I was talking with somebody also yesterday, and they were concerned about how they tried a new job and it didn't work out, so they had to go back to their old job. And just, it got me thinking. And we were talking about how in the past in corporate, when I was doing corporate nursing, that it was always so frowned upon to like go from job to job. And it's one thing if like you're just not a good employee and you're recognized as not being a good employee and you're getting let go and you're not a reliable employee, but it's another thing when you go to an interview, you get said job offer, you accept said job offer, and then you find while you're working in this environment that it is not conducive to who you are, your nervous system. Maybe it's not working in work-life balance. Maybe it's just not what you thought it was. And in discussing this, it was like, why should that be frowned upon? How is that the interviewee's fault that they found a job description that they resonated with, they applied, they went for the interview, they clearly were qualified, they got the job, and then they find out that management straight up is toxic, sucks, the people that work there, or the job just is not what it was. You're not getting what you were offered. And so guess what? You stand your ground, you speak your truth, and you walk away. And I think that it's high time that we stop shunning that even if your resume goes on to a second page, that is okay. I think that as an Aquarius, that's where my brain is at. Like, you just need to figure out what works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, there's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself and walking away from that, because guess what? Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it, per Albert Einstein. So if you're not vibing with the energy of that place that you're working at, that's paying your bills, and you're not happy, and body, mind, soul, you are suffering, then by all means, this Aquarius, at least this one, believes that go walk away, go find what works for you, go find what suits you, and fuck what everyone else thinks, even if your resume is 2 pages long. And I think I say that because I often think of just how far I have come. And when discussing the 2-page resume yesterday, it was like, you know what? It wasn't me. It was the environment, or it was just the circumstances or the situations. And honestly, you don't owe anybody anything. So I'm just going to point that out right now, that if you are working in a gig that is just not working for you, that is holding you back, that is hindering you, and you are in the capacity to be able to leave, because not everybody is in that capacity financially or personally, then by all means do what is right for you. And I think that even as somebody who was working their way up in the professional world and was trying so hard to remain professional, there's something about Aquarius that just tends to be really authentic in the way that they come across, in the way that they dress. I was always the employee who would come into the meetings. I posted about how I used to have to sit at the round table with the suits in the C-suites in corporate healthcare. And I would walk in, in my scrubs or in my business casual outfit. And I wasn't sitting in the chair like I had to stick up my ass. I was sitting in the chair comfortably, or I had my cup of tea, or I had my planners and my notebook and my notes. And sometimes my notes were handwritten, and I would hand them out. And it would be like the gasps of, oh, how dare this woman come in here with handwritten notes in the administrative suite. And it was like, the information is still there. I know it didn't look pristine. My brain still works though. Like, and as an Aquarius, it's like, well, I don't understand. I don't understand why. I guess it's that comes into play. Like, Saturn used to be known, because Saturn is that home of structure and discipline. And it's like Saturn did at one point become the ruler of Aquarius, and then Neptune, that rebellious nature, that one that's like, F this, I'm going to do it my way. And guess what? The work still got done. The accolades were still there. And it just goes to show you that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect on paper. You don't have to be perfect in human form. Like, you are allowed to be uniquely you. We all have this energetic blueprint. And if you are into astrology, you can look up your natal chart. And there's so many other things as well. There's human design, there's gene keys. I just kind of started getting into that as well. where Gene Keys shows you your shadow and your gift, and then your city, that enlightenment aspect. And it's just, these are different ways to look at who you are, why you are made up the way that you are. And I think that just, if you're listening and you're not even an Aquarius, or you have like no air in your chart, or you're not really sure like where this episode is going and what I'm talking about, I really just want to point out that you are allowed to be uniquely you. You have this free will. What makes you human is feeling emotion. What makes you human, you have this energetic essence that is the soul that never ceases to exist. And our greatest fear is death in this life, but it's also our only guarantee. That in taxes, of course, especially if you live in the States. But when it comes down to really embodying who you are in this life, do you want to be like everyone else? Or do you want to do your own thing? Do you want to find and look within and see what your north node is, that true north, what your soul purpose is here, so that you can follow through on that you can fulfill that mission that is your birthright to accomplish in this life. And when it comes to your north node, it gives you the idea of where you can go, while your Chiron, your deepest wounds in this life, can give you an idea of what you need to overcome. So, for example, my deepest wounds in this life that I need to overcome is my sense of codependency. I need to become more independent. And in 2025, I definitely tackled that by flying across the country solo by myself. Never before had I done that, and realizing that I can be independent. I can travel. Nothing is holding me back. I am my own human. We are spiritual beings having this human experience. And as that energetic essence that never ceases to exist, that version is here in this physical vessel that you have borrowed, the physical body. That essence is here to not only figure out what you are supposed to do in this life, like what you're supposed to accomplish, that soul purpose, right? That true north. But it's also to have fun. It's to explore. It's to take care of your physical body. And I think a lot of us, since COVID, since the pandemic, being stuck with yourself in literal isolation for, however long that lasted, too long, we started to realize that we truly are the ones that have to take care of ourselves. When nobody was able to deliver us food, right? When we had to suddenly do our own laundry, maybe when we had to start cleaning up after ourselves, when we just had to do these things for ourselves, because if you had somebody always doing them externally for you, you had to figure it out on your own. And it's not really a bad thing. I mean, everybody should know how to live with basic needs and how to care for oneself if you are fully capable. That fulfills that sense of independence, that fulfills that sense of you're able to properly do what is needed to thrive, body, mind, and soul. And you may not be perfect. I'm not saying that like you have to suddenly go from 0 to 100 and cooking healthily all meals for yourself, and keeping your house pristine and keeping up with every single load of laundry. Like, that's not. I just mean that when we have the opportunities, whether it was during the pandemic, if you found this for yourself, or you're starting to now as the collective energies are, and the veil is thinning as the collective energies are, bringing us into more self-awareness and higher consciousness, and more people than ever are awakening to what is, that it's really just living in that sense of, am I doing for myself what I came here to do? And I think that when you when you think about whether it's your belief in how you got here, whether your belief is theology based or your belief is consciousness based and more universal law based. If you believe in, I always share Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, that she said that we decided all of this. We decided our soul family. We decided literally every single thing that we were going to do, say, and think in this life. We planned it ahead of time. So it's like getting back to that nitty gritty source of who you are, that very essence of who you are, and doing it freely, doing it fun and excitement, doing what lights you up basically, and not caring what other people think. And as an Aquarius, and Aquarians in general are very ahead of their time. So thinking outside the box. I've often been told also that I was not born in the right era, that one, I'm ahead of my time, that I should have been like futuristic, but also that I should have been like a 60s hippie. Regardless, I am who I am. My brain works in mysterious, magical ways where I'm constantly just coming up with creative ideas and innovations, and it is a life's work to remain grounded, which is why I do all my courses and I try to help people in sessions to, feel safe in their bodies and to remember who they are and to bring clarity and to bring alignment and to help you to recognize that even if you're not an Aquarius, that it still is okay to be you. And to not have shame, to not have fear over that, to not have the feeling of comparison and lack because somebody else that you know is doing it perfectly in your perception, when in reality, perhaps that person is not happy and does not have joy or peace or flow. Perhaps they might have all the money in the world and they might have like a personal chef and housekeeping and a chauffeur and maybe travel first class or private jets or make millions and billions of dollars. But how is their nervous system? At the end of the day, how is their nervous system? How are they sleeping? How do they feel deep within when nobody else is watching, listening, or asking? And to be completely honest, that's all you have to focus on, is remembering that not everything is as it's made out to be. I know plenty of people who bring in 7 figures and are completely and utterly shot. Like they are just completely burnt out. Their nervous systems are on the fritz. And I am helping these individuals as clients, and they are learning to recognize, like, hold on, okay, I need to slow down, and not necessarily have a do-over, but just slow down and listen to the body. Just slow down and listen to what your body is trying to tell you the ailments that you need to ease, trying to tell you what your body needs nutritionally, trying to tell you if your body needs to rest or if it's okay to go ahead and do the things that you need to do. Simply listening to your body, trusting your intuition, and honestly, movement medicine. Movement medicine is key, and especially during the winter seasons. Aquarius, if you're in the northern hemisphere, we are in the winter season. So not many people want to go outside. People don't want to brace the cold. The cold air in the lungs is so rejuvenating. I guess it's kind of like the equivalent of like doing an ice plunge, but in your lungs, right? So just go ahead, go outside, brave the cold, and you'll notice, yes, of course, if we're all clamped down and we're not breathing and we're just like, holding ourselves tight and we're trying to get through the brisk cold, take a minute, slow down, take 3 deep breaths, and you can feel your blood circulating. You can start to feel the warmth refilling your fingers and your toes and your face and your nose, right? When you can't feel your nose, like that's terrible. Nobody wants to be that cold. But when you really start to focus on such things as the breath, and remembering that the breath is our prana, our life force energy. So letting that circulate and rejuvenate and revitalize the body, and then go for a walk. Or if you want to do movement medicine inside, that's perfectly fine too. But finding spots with light, with UV light, to get in that vitamin D, but also to get in that energy. Again, the sun is known as a home to spirit of the South in shamanism. So calling upon the spirit of the South, even in the winter time, to give you a little bit of extra rejuvenation. and loving light and energy. And these things will definitely keep you going and in flow and feeling happy in the wintertime months, because they can get, I know a lot of people who live in Canada, in one in particular in the Yukon territory, and here I am complaining when it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit out and they're like negative 50 degrees. So, and they're still outside every single day walking their dogs, doing outdoor activity. And yes, we have completely different lifestyles, but at the end of the day, it's like, get outside, move, breathe, do what you need to do to keep yourself in flow. Even if you look totally silly, just go outside. And that's another thing about Aquarius. You can look totally silly. You can dress the way that you want. I dress quite eclectically. A lot of times I don't even match. I feel like my whole life, every time I see my dad, oh, nice outfit today, Allie. Like, yeah, this is what I put together. Sometimes I can be like a toddler, like that wants to put their own outfit together, and the parents just like, okay, fine. And it's like, you don't match, but you feel good and you feel confident and you feel, sometimes I put on so much jewelry, my bright pink lips or my red lips, and it's like, I don't care. That's like a dopamine hit, a serotonin hit. Like, I don't care. Give it to me. I want to feel good. I want to feel good in who I am, and I don't care really what anybody else thinks. And for so long, I walked around feeling so shut down and shunned about who I am, what I look like, my face, embrace the face, right? So it's really about reawakening, remembering, and honoring who you are, that Aquarius, rebellious, badass God goddess that you are. Own it, live it, breathe it, and just be it. And I hope that this helps to give you a little bit of guidance into what Aquarius season means to me, and allow yourself to find this maybe Aquarian archetype in you. Who are you? Who are you creatively? Who are you when nobody's watching? Who are you when you're dancing and singing and just being artistic in the ways that you are, expressing yourself, and just remembering that you deserve to be exactly who you are without worrying about anything else. And also, one more thing that I want to touch on is medical. Of course, this is coming through for me to share. So Aquarius is home to, one, the feet and the legs. So if you have any issues with your feet or legs, perhaps, tapping into that Aquarian energy this season, doing, again, movement medicine, also breath work. Breath work will help to bring in circulation. So a lot of people also don't realize that cold and flu season, which I have fire cider for, which can help prevent and also ease any cold or viral ailments that you may have, that when you take in deep breaths, you are, again, like I said earlier, you're recirculating. And a lot of illness and viral illness is due to poor circulation. That leads to poor immunity. The body can't fight off those germs or the mold that you may have within your living or working environment, or because it's all coming out more to the surface during these winter months, and it's easier to these communicable diseases, the viruses and the pneumonias, and it depends on what is out there and what's going around. And like I said, even if you're living in your home and you have mold and you're not even aware of it, this season can really bring that about, those symptoms, because of the fact that you have poor circulation. So just focusing on these things, focusing on circulating the blood, especially in the lower extremities, be a big help. So again, thank you guys for listening in to my creative take on what it means to be an Aquarius. And it really is. I mean, if you follow me and you've listened long enough, you just know that I kind of just march to the beat of my own drum, and I'm just doing my thing, going with the flow, trusting my intuition. And I pray that you do the same each and every moment of every single day. Peace out. God bless.